Joining me now is a Democrat who was denied access at the Department of Education, has been demanding answers over Elon Musk's actions across government all week. Congresswoman Gwen Moore of Wisconsin. Congresswoman, nice to see you. Thank you for being with us. This is an important moment to just understand the distinction. The Department of Education is a government agency, a federal government agency, technically falls under the executive branch, but like all government operations, is funded through appropriations at Congress. So ultimately, the buck stops with you and your colleagues. A number of your Republican colleagues seem to have no issue with this overreach and with a bunch of random people having access to all of our payment systems and our information. So it does fall to you as Democrats to say, what's going on here? What were you trying to establish, and what do you know about what's going on with the Department of Education?
Well, thank you for having me, Allie. This is my 20th anniversary in Congress, and I've tried so hard to establish the reputation of being the gentle lady from Wisconsin. But this has been a very, very difficult week for me. And the Department of Education was just yet another trigger for me. As you know, I'm a member of the Ways and Means Committee.
Right.
And so what I saw happening at the Treasury Department, I mean, those were not power grabs, as someone misquoted me. Those were crimes that were being committed. Accessing people's Social Security and tax forms and private information. With regard to the Department of Education, the question that I had was, even though the Department of Education is under the rubric of the administration, there are statutory requirements. Title I, our disabled children, our low-income students. Title VII, civil rights promises that we're making to students. Title IX, who and what entity was going to administer those mandates? The Higher Education Act, under the rubric of the Department of Education. And all that demanded was a simple answer. Ironically, we were standing in front of doors that said public access. And we were denied public access.
The irony of what you're talking about, all those things you just mentioned the Department of Education does, Donald Trump says he wants to give education, quote, back to the states. We need to understand this. States already set their own curriculum. The Federal Department of Education does not set curriculum for schools. They do these other things that are the responsibility of the federal government. It's been a pet project of Republicans for a long time to get rid of it. But part of the problem here is we may not have a good enough understanding of what it does, what the CFPB does, what USAID does. And so Congresswoman Debbie Dingell was on earlier with me and said, right now, half the job is fighting back and the other half is educating people on why these departments do what they do.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that people are now learning is that members of Congress don't have standing in court. And right now, the court is the only thing that's stopping some of this criminal activity. I'm so pleased that my Attorney General of Wisconsin, Josh Kaul, has joined in with 20 other states, Letitia James being one of them, to really call out the crimes that are being committed with regard to the Treasury Department, for example. But we don't have standing. It's only the people out there. And I've been saying to people, it's time to join the PTA. There's strength in numbers to call out the dismantling of educational opportunity grants, to call out the disassembling of monies for disabled children, and to create the curriculum. Because states don't have the money on their, off their property tax basis to pay for special programming like that. And there's so much talk about protecting gender identity and gender equality in women's sports. Well, that's also under the rubric of the Department of Education. And so, when you talk about disrupting and disassembling government, there are real live consequences to it. There are people who are affected, and you out there are the people who have the power. It's now time to pay your union dues, go to your union meetings, join the NAACP, pay your ACLU dues. There's strength in numbers.
Congresswoman, the gentlelady from Wisconsin.
That Debbie Deagle was talking about.
The gentlelady from Wisconsin being a little less gentle this week because it's time to speak up. It's time to get stuff done. Thank you for being with us as always.